Wait, which one?
Solo.
Oh, no, thank you. I said make you think and not make you feel like a piece of shit for watching what you just watched.
Welcome back to The Physical Cut, where films live beyond the stream. My name is Carlos, and today I am joined by Ron from Why This Film. Welcome to the podcast, Ron.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate the invite.
So, Ron, I know the Criterion sale just ended, and I spent most of the month of July talking about Criterion. But I did discover your podcast during the Criterion sale, and I'm glad I did. I found some hidden gems within your podcast. And anybody who's a Criterion lover, I highly suggest you hear the podcast. I'm going to link it here below. But, Ron, before we go into deep conversations on Criterion, I want to know why this film? What was the inspiration behind the podcast?
I was listening to other film podcasts and I kept hearing Criterion. Okay, great. What is that? So let's start watching some movies on the channel or start digging into like, what is the Criterion Collection? How do they pick movies for that? I had a lot of different questions. So I started watching with some of them, and some of them I was thinking, why is this so special? I think these movies in the Criterion Collection are apparently supposed to be this incredibly artistic or cultural experience or worth preserving kind of film. And I was like, I don't get it, some of these films. I'm not a film critic. I didn't go to film school. Just a guy that likes to watch movies. But I had a lot of questions. So I thought, man, I wish I knew people that could tell me and help me understand what makes some of these films so special. And I thought it's kind of weird if you just email people and ask them these questions. But when you tell people, hey, I have these questions for you, and also we're going to record it and put it out for the world, people seem to be more amenable to that. So that's kind of how it started, is I had questions about why this film would have been so special or why it would be included in the Criterion Collection. I fully understand that a lot of this comes down to what Criterion can get the rights to. But there is also the idea of they're not just grabbing movie rights from every corner of the movie world. They are selecting and curating this collection. That's how it started. I just started reaching out to people like, hey, can you come on as a guest? I need to practice. I have no podcast experience. I have no film experience. Can we get this going? And I've had some pretty hard hitting guests so far. So it's been really good.
Yeah, it's funny because I did ask, again, I've been obsessed with asking people stupid questions on Reddit, but I do get the stupidest answers ever.
Well,
During,
if you're asking a stupid question, I guess.
well, it's not a stupid question. It's just that, when you ask you could ask the smartest question, but if you're followed by stupid people, you will receive stupid answers. I asked a question about what basically makes Criterion choose a film. And everybody was like, well, just go to the website. I'm like, you do not have your personal opinion? I'm asking your personal opinion, not Criterion's personal opinion. I don't want to go to their homepage, which we visit often, by the way, but I wanted to know your personal opinion on why Criterion chooses these films. And again, they couldn't answer. I am glad you gave me a great answer, because I'm like, that's the answer I've been looking for. It's from your perspective, from your point of view. There's a few podcasts out there that do speak about Criterion. I have to say that the episodes I've listened from your podcast so far have been pretty entertaining, because I feel like the people you have really, they're not just knowledgeable on these films, but they're also, they love the film. So they love the film enough to, and not just to get to know it, but also the history behind it. I think the ceremony, which we just spoke about, that I told you that I loved the film, and I was kind of surprised when I saw it on your list. And I'm like, I got to listen to this one first. And I forgot your guest's name. I did love how he looked beyond the film and into the social structure of France and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is how you do a movie podcast when you're diving into a film. It's not just a superficial part, which I do because I'm not one to spend too much time on a film unless I really love it. But the fact that you get these people and they're questions that are hard-hitting questions. So again, kudos for that. Like I tell you, I can't be on your podcast because I'm gonna feel stupid as hell.
Well, that's why
But
I'm the host,
yeah,
because I'm asking questions just out of genuine curiosity,
yeah,
knowing that the people that I have as the guests, there's nothing I could lob at them that they won't be able to answer.
yeah,
And I feel confident in that because a lot of the people I reach out to, I just let them pick the movie. The person who was my guest for the La Ceremonie episode, his name's Girish Shambu. He's written multiple essays for Criterion. If anyone out there is familiar, I imagine that your audience is. All the Criterion releases come with some essay, some come with multiple essays and a little booklet. And I think I've had, not I think, of all of my guests, 5 of them have written the essay for Criterion, but 2 of them have chosen a movie that they didn't write about. So it truly is a passion of theirs. So Girish has written, I believe, 2 essays for Criterion, but he didn't write the essay for La Ceremonie. He came back to me and he says, I love Claude Chabrol. I love this film. This is what I want to talk about. It's like, great. I'm not going to say no to that. Now I can ask absolutely anything, and he's going to have something or some kind of take or a viewpoint on that is going to be worthwhile for anyone listening because you can feel the passion come through with a lot of these people.
but what made you dedicate a whole podcast to just Criterion? Because you can add other labels, but just specifically Criterion.
I look at them as the gold standard of boutique labels. I think you could have some arguments about that. I'm sure people are very passionate and people are very passionate about what they're passionate about. That's kind of ridiculous to say, but people have staunch opinions on what they feel is the quote unquote best. But what inspired me is my own genuine curiosity. Then starting to listen to these people that I recognize that we see on our screens all the time go into this closet full of films and speak so passionately about things that inspired them in their career. Or if someone has a story about my father showed me this film when I was a kid and it was a way like those kind of things, the idea of bringing people together over film, I just stuck with Criterion. Now, could I spin it off and start talking to people from Arrow? Yeah, maybe.
I
Maybe I
mean,
could.
yeah,
But with Criterion too, there's no shortage of choices.
no,
There's 1,300 plus films in the collection right now
and I'm going.
and going. Right. Right. So decided to stick with that just because that's how it started. It was a curiosity about that particular label. And the results have been great. And when I say results, I'm talking about the results of the conversations themselves are very high quality, whether there's thousands or tens or hundreds of people listening to each episode. Because of the passion that the people have for the films in the collection, the result has been genuine, deep dive conversations. It's almost become kind of an academic podcast in a sense
Yeah.
with the guests that I've been getting.
No, but we need more of those because, like, I feel like most of the I there's a few movie podcasts out there, but like I said, they usually just focus more on the budget. They focus on either the makeup of box office results and success and failures, and some that also get into films. They go scene by scene, which some of them I love. Some of them I don't love too much because sometimes the movie is already an hour and 20 minutes, but the podcast episode is 3 hours. And I'm like, I could just go watch the film and come up with my own opinion at that point. What I do like is that you study the film. You don't study necessarily the box office. And if you do mention it, it's as part of the history of the film. And the best example is the last one you put out, which was the 39 Steps. You're talking about Hitchcock's way of directing before, what might have inspired North by Northwest. You kind of don't necessarily go scene by scene, even though you are talking about specific scenes and you're talking about how something could have been risque and how this reflected society, the political climate then. It's not a scene by scene, which is what I respect. And to put it into Criterion perspective, it does feel like a supplemental to the Criterion this, and no, this is a praise, so take it. But it does feel like part of a supplemental of the Criterion. So if you are watching, say, and I'm just looking at the stack in front of me, Blow Up, and you listen to you watch the movie, you watch the supplementals, and then you say you do Blow Up later on in your podcast, then you could have that as a supplemental as well. And you add into the education because again, the people that you bring into your podcast, they're very well versed in these films. But what I do love also your subtitle of One Spine at a Time, and obviously, like, you could either accumulate all these films like I did in the 10 recommendations, but that's not what you do. Like you said, you have about 1,300 spines to go. So what made you go at least one spine at a time instead of just doing one large podcast on that?
I was watching a lot of films, and sometimes after I watch something, I like to listen to people talk about it. It's one of the best times you can have with friends is when you go to the films and then you walk out and you get to talk about what you just watched together. So sometimes when you're sitting at home watching things, you might be watching it by yourself, you might be watching it with a significant other, but you don't always take that. I would say it's probably not a conversation we're having very often in this house. We watch a film as to do this deep dive academic analysis. So I was longing for that. I was longing for the deeper analysis. And when I was looking for some of the films, I wasn't finding them. So that went into this idea of, well, I'll just do it myself. I was searching wherever you get your podcast for the deep dives, and there's just not a lot out there. If you look for something, a deep dive on the 39 steps, which I haven't done, I don't know how many are out there in the way that
Yeah.
we have it set up. So reading about them is one thing, finding an expert to do a deep dive, that's something that's unique, and I thought it was a worthwhile endeavor.
And like I said, there's not a lot of deep dive, especially when it comes to Criterion. Thank you for having it out there. Because again, I do love having something that is easy to digest and also something that is familiar to what one of my passions, which is, collecting Criterion. As hard as I am sometimes on them, my war against Criterion right now is what they did to Eyes Wide Shut. But again, that's a soapbox, I'm gonna, but
I have it
I
back there somewhere.
yeah, I have it here in front of me, so yeah, don't go too far, it still taunts me, it's there. That plastic box gives me nightmares, and then to make it worse, it's like the thick, Studio Canal type of box, so that's what I don't like because it doesn't go even with the rest of the Criterions, so it really I have OCD, this drives me insane. But what has hosting and like you said, the hosting the podcast, Why This Film, and having these guests, it has taught you something you might not have known of the film, or it has given you at least something to argue with people about and go into a deep discussion about it. But has it changed at least the way you watch movies, especially not just necessarily Criterions, but just in general?
Oh, 100%. You learn a lot from the guests and what during the episodes themselves, but also what I learn is how they watch movies. So when you talk to a critic or a historian or a writer or a filmmaker, you start to learn by listening to how they're evaluating a film, and it tells you a lot about how they watch it. So I'm still along for the ride when I'm watching a film, but my brain is now wandering more into a critical thinking mode instead of just always visually taking in what's on the screen.
Yeah, I feel like it's a blessing and a curse, at least when you're doing it because you wanna have that conversation with someone, you're seeing the film differently. Recently, somebody posted on Instagram about how they stopped doing Letterboxd because it does kinda affect the way you watch movies, and I feel like having the conversations that you have, I don't necessarily like to rate a movie. Movies either are good or bad or questionable. Sure, that's for basic thinking. You know,
Questionable.
question. No, there is a lot of movies that are questionable, but there's other conversations that you want to have. And I felt like when I started with Letterbox, my brain kind of clicked a different way in how I watch films. And to put it visually, I felt like when a cartoon, when you have like those little bubbles above your head, and instead of bubbles, was just like stars. So it went from 1 to 5, and as I'm watching the movie, you see it the rating go up, and then if somebody made a mistake, the rating went down. If the script was bad, the rating went down. If one scene was good, so and I couldn't really concentrate in watching the movie. That's why I don't even log on Letterboxd anymore. I think I put the Odyssey just to keep my account active, but and the thing is, like, you can't really have those deep conversations because when I decided to take Letterboxd a little bit more serious, I was basically writing away a whole essay on the film, whether it was a good one or a bad one, but I felt like it wasn't being read. But then if I would put something stupid like, I'll live, that's the comment, 3 stars. Everybody liked it. So I'm like, you're not really reading my whole essay on this film, why this film is good. But then if I put she had a comment or something like that, all of a sudden it's like 5 star, like everybody just liking it because yeah, it's easier to digest a stupid comment than a whole argument on the film. And I'm like, you know what, this is not for me. I do like having podcasts, having these conversations because one, as I would say, as movie lovers, like you said, it's something we don't get to have all the time. At least you having that with other people, it does kind of make the movie not just more memorable, but more significant, I would say. Has there been, I mentioned to you earlier how I didn't like The Worst Person in the World when I first saw it, and I still have questions about sentimental value. If I don't buy it, like I posted on Letterbox, I'll live. But has there been a Criterion release that completely change your perspective after you covered it?
Yeah, all of them. I know that's a cop out answer, but because of the research that you have to, I mean, sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, I don't get this. Like, why do people like this? I still have one like on my list that's like, don't get it, but I guarantee Ghost World, by the way, is what that is. Like, I don't understand that movie at all. I don't know why that's part of anything. But that's kind of what goes in your head. And then you say, someone reaches out, or I reach out to someone, say, what do you want to cover? And then they inevitably pick something that I didn't understand. And then you start to do your own research and you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of get their perspective. And then they show up and start explaining it to you. And you're like, damn, this is actually pretty special. So I copped out and said every single one of them, but especially the first two. La Jetée was the first. It's a 28-minute French short film. And I spoke to a professor of philosophy, and he's going into all these different ideas of time travel and what the movie is saying about time travel and what the movie's philosophy is on the idea of that you can't change your past. And I'm like, wow, this is like a total, not what I was expecting. When you talk about film analysis, you don't usually think of a philosophy professor that's going to break down a 28-minute short film.
I
So
mean,
that was
the
kind of
episode
cool.
was the episode was longer than the film, by the way.
Well, it's hard to, yeah.
No,
Well,
but it was interesting.
it was 44 minutes, I think. So not quite as long. And the other one was Touchez pas Grisby, which is a Jean Gabon film. And I spoke with Jeanette Vincendo, who is a legend. She gets on the podcast and starts talking to me about how at her retirement party, which was held at the British Film Institute, she gave an introduction to this film. So you're going to talk about
Well,
somebody that is highly renowned. Her picking the film that she would like to discuss. It's like, yeah, you're probably going to leave with a different perspective than what you came in with, especially in the research. I watch it, I'm like, well, this isn't very exciting. And then you start learning about why it was significant at the time. And then you get her perspective. And it's like, oh, I totally get it. I love this movie now. And that's the power of speaking to people in this format and choosing something from this already curated list.
yeah, that's how I felt because the one that I rewatch and now is one of my favorites in the Criterion, and I recommended it in the episode for the 10 must-haves, was The Worst Person in the World, is because the first time I saw it, I 2 a.m., not a good time. And then I read somebody's description on the film, and it was like a whole deep dive on the film. And I was like, you know what? Let me just watch it again. I think I watched it about 6 months after. And I don't know if it was the headspace that I was in or just because I had a different idea of what the film was, but I saw it from a completely different point of view. It does really explore sometimes the loneliness we kind of create ourselves. Maybe I'm just looking too much into the film. Maybe I just saw it in a very depressing time of my life, which is every Wednesday. But I just saw the
every
film
Wednesday.
so yeah, I used to have depression Wednesdays. It was an excuse to buy a bottle of wine, but it's just made me watch the film from a different perspective, and now I tell people, when you watch the film, just go watch it when you really need to watch something to make yourself understand yourself a little bit better, if that makes sense. If you're depressed, go see this film. It's really gonna give you a perspective on, yeah, you probably created your own depression. You probably created your own shitty situation, and you know you can come out of it, right? It's a lot to dig into that film, and if you really need to get somebody who's really passionate about it, cover it, because I'm gonna be downloading that and promoting that like crazy. So you're gonna have free promotion here. But
Well, the woman who wrote the essay for The Worst Person in the World also wrote the essay for After Hours, and I had
oh,
her
I
as a
love that
guest.
film.
So maybe I do too. She was great. Her name's Sheila O'Malley.
Oh,
She's great.
nice.
She was a writer for RogerEbert.com. So maybe she'll come back and want to do another episode, and we can cover
Did she
The Worst
do
Person in the World.
she did After Hours on your
She
pod?
wrote the essay for After Hours as well. Yeah,
Oh, no, but she what movie did she cover on your pod?
After Hours.
Oh, okay, okay, so
Yeah, so she
I
wrote the
gotta
essay for
oh,
After
yeah,
Hours. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think I was scrolling and I did see it, but because I already know the film, I don't think I heard it, and I didn't hear the episode, but I don't think I stopped because I already know the film, so I probably just saved it for later. But I kinda went through the ones that I don't know too much about, like La Jetée, which I've heard, and I don't know much about the film, and then the 39 Steps, which I told you that I know the play, I don't
Mhm.
know much of the movie. So those films I did listen to because I don't have a lot of knowledge on them. The Ceremony, which I love, I listened just because I wanted to know somebody' perspective on the film. Because 'cause I'm like, "Are other people as fucked up as I am?" Yeah. So and
No,
it
that guy
was
was
true.
great.
Yeah,
All the
that guy
guests
was
have been
great.
all the guests have been great. They all
Yeah,
have their own strengths. Like the guy I
I
had
did
for
like the
39
guy.
Steps is
Yeah.
he edits the Hitchcock Annual, which is a magazine
Oh,
that
nice.
like he's written 3 books on Hitchcock. Like it's just finding the people that have the answers to all the questions you could possibly have, and then some.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did like the last guest you had, he was pretty amazing. Is he also a professor or
Yeah, at Sacred Heart.
yeah.
He's been there since 1976 teaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he has knowledge.
He has some life
He knows
experience he can
I
share.
guess he knows what he's talking about.
He said he remembered watching Hitchcock films when Hitchcock was still making films.
No, I think I yeah,
So
that's
yeah, he has a different perspective than you or I may have on
yeah, yeah.
Hitchcock.
He was there when history was
He
being
was there.
made.
He was there.
But I know we already spoke about your podcast, which again, I really recommend everyone to go listen. But since the Criterion sale just ended, and I know I wasn't able to talk to you during the Criterion sale, did you pick up anything from your wish list? Did you have any luck? Did you run out of time before they cut us short for a week?
It's not often that the people that work the cash registers at Barnes and Noble know you on site. I went there probably once, sometimes twice a week, just to check in, as if I don't know every damn film on site of what's in the collection at this point. You always go in with a list, and you always leave with things that aren't on that list.
Every day.
I picked up what I needed. So like I needed the 39 Steps. I needed covering deep cover in a few weeks. Mate One, I had to pick that up. So like you have your podcast related needs. And then you start looking around for your blind buys. Like I had actually never seen Notorious by Hitchcock. So I had a Hitchcock episode coming up. So I'm like, oh, I haven't seen Notorious. Let me just pick that up. Sentimental Value, which by the way I really liked. So we can have the conversation off air maybe, but I really enjoyed that. The Complete Lady Snowblood, like those two films that
You
come
mean
in
Kill
the
Bill?
no, yes, very, very good. I was like, no, wait, what? And the Elephant Man in 4K came out during the sale.
Oh,
So make sure to pick that up.
you didn't buy it from eBay for a overpriced, resale because everybody thought it was gonna go out of print for the rest of their lives. I'm like, you do know it's gonna come out in 4K.
Missed my opportunity, I guess. No, got it in the 4K. And and there's sometimes I just walk by and I'm like, you know what? Do I really need Wally, the Criterion release of Wally? No, I don't. But I'm gonna pick it up anyway. Body Heat. I grabbed Body Heat. That movie kicks ass. It was just an accident. The John Singleton, the Hood trilogy
Yeah,
just came out. Worst
I
person in
just
the world.
downloaded.
You just kind of go in there, and it's like you're saying. Almost like sometimes depends on the mood you're in. Like, what am I in the mood to see? And sometimes you'd leave with things that you didn't have planned.
Yeah, I did. I went in, like I mentioned to you earlier, that I went in to go Sentimental Value, pick up Sentimental Value, Multiple Maniacs, and Beau Travail. and I ended up coming out with something completely different. I came out with a drama. It's only an accident, and Alice doesn't live here anymore,
Mm.
and the Christophers. Well, just because they didn't have the other three, in my defense, I didn't need to buy anything. They just happened to be there. But yeah, the other three were completely sold out. Any surprises that you picked up? I know you picked up some stuff that was not on your list, but had any of the titles that you picked up surprised you?
I would say Mate One. Mate One was. I mean, I know I just recorded an episode on it, so that's why I picked it up. But it's something I'd never heard of. I didn't know the actual history of what actually happened in West Virginia in 1920. I had no idea, and I only had seen Lone Star. That's the only other John Sayles movie I had seen up until that point. And now I'm just like a can Sayles please make another movie person right now. Like I'm longing for more of. Oh, actually, I take that back. I'd seen Eight Men Out, but I saw Eight Men Out back whenever I wasn't to the point like you were just talking about our friend Ernst of, oh, he made this movie. Oh, he made this one too. I'm going to go consume that too. I saw Eight Men Out at a time where I was just like, oh yeah, that movie was cool. Then move on to the next thing. I saw Lone Star and I was like, oh, that was really good. I loved it. And then I found somebody that wrote a book on sales. I said, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about Mate One. All right, go pick that up. It's excellent. It's not something you can really when someone says what's it about? Oh, it's about a 1920 coal mining union, uh, like a coal
Yeah.
mining company and people trying to unionize. It's like that doesn't sound very exciting. And it really doesn't. But it's so well done. It's so good. So that one I think stands out as something that surprised me. It was just an accident. Didn't surprise me. It more had me in awe of how that shit even got made. It's just
Mm,
incredible. That director is amazing. Jafar Panahi, he's so good. So
yeah.
those two, it couldn't get further apart maybe in style and subject matter. But that's kind of the beauty of the collection. There's something for everybody.
For me, my biggest surprise was, because again, our homie Ernst, when I picked up Trouble in Paradise, I was so scared because I'm like, the description sounds like something I would like, but when you're watching movies from that era, you're kinda like, you're in a mindset that it's like, it has to be good. It has to be super funny. It has to be My Girl Friday kind of type of movie. I was gonna say like my knowledge on Mate One, which I thought it was called Mate One, and secondly, I thought it was Asian movie to begin with. So it blew
Not
my
quite.
mind when you said it was Mate One and it's about coal miners in Virginia. I thought this was about somebody in Asia called Mate One, and
No,
that
no.
was my knowledge on that film. So you really surprised me. That's probably going to be a pickup that I do, which is going to be a big surprise.
Maybe somebody, Matawan, they think it's the next Star Wars
Yeah, it
sequel
does
of some
sound.
kind. Yeah, Matewan, it's a town in West Virginia.
Yeah, that would have been a surprise for me. I pop out the movie and all of a sudden they're speaking in English. I'm like, wait, where's Akira Kurosawa? I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Nope. Nope.
What do you remember your first Criterion that you collected?
The first, yeah, it was I remember a flash sale, and the very first film that went into my cart was No Country for Old Men. It's just one of the best movies of my lifetime. Maybe one of the best movies ever. So that was the first thing in the cart. Easy choice.
Yeah, that was a good year for the Oscars. I'm not gonna lie.
It
That
was
was a very good year for the Oscars.
really good.
Were there any releases that made you realize that Criterion was different? Obviously, you deep dive into a lot of their supplementals, which is something that is also helpful when you have a podcast like yours. It does help you expand your knowledge on things. But was there something that you realized that Criterion might be different?
I think they all do. I think the quality of the transfers are the top of the physical media game right now. The supplements are incredible. I'm going to sound like a pretentious prick, but the reading the essays, I think, lends itself. Like when you were talking about, I'm not sure how I feel about sentimental value, I was going to recommend read the essay that comes with that
Mhm.
because it really sheds a light on a differing perspective. Whether you agree with the perspective or not, it's still good to get that other side of things. Or if you're like, I don't get this, that's kind of how I started with it. And the inclusion of those, even the packaging, I think is great. I love the artwork on them. I know
Yeah,
they're
it's a
not,
beautiful, it's a
yeah, but
beautiful addition.
I know that other boutique labels have great covers and great packaging and all of those things. But I just feel like with the audio commentary, the supplements, the essays, I feel like I've been in film school now since I started this podcast. Like I'm going to film school late in life because of the quality of what they're putting out. Criterion, if you're out there, if you'd like to sponsor why this film, please reach
No,
out.
they should. They should. I mean, there's people out there that do half the work and they do it for maybe a 20-minute episode, 30-minute episode. They get a different exposure, which is the big YouTube. And yes, Criterion, I know you're not listening, but if you are, you should sponsor Why This
If you're
Film.
out there,
You got to do unboxing videos for Criterion, and that's how you get
that's how
them.
they get our
Yeah,
yeah,
that's how you get them. They get your attention. You get the attention by doing unboxing. But I
not my
I do
style.
agree. I do agree with the packaging for supplemental value. Jesus Christ, supplemental value. That is the new title of the movie, supplemental value.
Yes, there are good
Well,
supplements with it.
supplement sentimental value. I do agree that sentimental value has a great packaging, which again is and I don't want to keep bringing it up every time I talk about Criterion. It's like that's what I wanted for Eyes Wide Shut. That's what I'm hoping for Demon Hunters too. Like I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
those films that we've been waiting for a while, that are big films, especially when you're now doing a whole box set for Kubrick. It's such a like, yeah, the sentimental value has a beautiful, beautiful packaging. It's just as beautiful as Solo, you know. And
Oh
you
no,
can,
no, we're not.
you
You're
can.
we're not talking about Solo today.
When are you gonna cover that on your podcast? Just
May not. If someone picks it, I may politely ask if we could cover something else. Although, you know what? Let me take that back because sometimes people suggest they give me films to choose from. I'd like to cover any of these three, and I inevitably pick the one that is the least popular because I feel like it's easier. It would be a lot easier for me to find someone that's incredibly passionate about Eyes Wide Shut than it would be for me to find someone that's incredibly passionate about Matewan, something that's off the beaten path. So when someone says, I'd like to cover Matewan, or I'd like to cover the 39 Steps, a Hitchcock that nobody really talks about that often, I'm going to do that because it may be the only place that people can get that type of analysis without critique. I'm supposed to be the dummy of the two people in the conversation. I'm supposed to just ask the questions and then we all learn from the guest. And so when you are curious about a certain film, it may be and it's off the beaten path. Nobody really talks about it that often. That podcast might be the only place that people can get the information about the 39 Steps or Matewan. The
yeah,
film, obviously, Matewan, what actually happened. You can Google that yourself. But the deep dive of the film, it may not be anywhere. I hope there's not a bunch of deep dives into Solo.
I think I heard one. That's how I brought
Okay.
it up because I think I heard one, and I think oh, well, they didn't cover Solo entirely. They covered because they were covering another movie and they kind of compared it to Solo, and I was like, I that would be a great deep dive. But obviously, I saw the film and I do love John Waters, and why he says it's such a great film, and I have to agree with him with his point of view, not because I'm in a cult, but it's because I saw it from his perspective of why it's a great film. Do I love it? No. Do I find it disgusting entirely? But it is still a film that I'm like, yeah, Criterion should have this in their collection. Like, it is a film that you're like, yeah, this belongs in the Criterion Collection. Putting a spotlighting, dictatorship and all that kind of stuff in a film just by doing this disgusting stuff on film. It is very, very, how do you call that? Creative. It's very creative, and it's a pretty interesting film. That's all I gotta say with Salo. I haven't seen Serbian film. Somebody said to watch Serbian film if I like Salo, I was like, I didn't say I liked it. I just said that it's an interesting film. Is there any other filmmaker that international or unknown filmmaker that the Criterion Collection has introduced you to?
I think most of any of the French filmmakers, name them,
I
any
agree.
French New Wave. I mean, come on, I'm growing up watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we were talking earlier about some of these era releases. Spawn. Like, I'm watching things like that. I'm watching old superhero movies as a kid. I'm not watching French New Wave, and I'm definitely not watching that in college. In college, I'm watching Anchorman and The Big Lebowski and 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's the stuff that we're watching in the dorm. I'm just not I was never exposed to any of these French filmmakers, whether it be Godard, whether it be Melville, whether it be, Jacques Becker, which was he was the director of Grisby. Like, any of the French filmmakers, being exposed to them and then getting differing perspectives and learning from the guests about these French filmmakers. That's a big one. And obviously, the lesser known Kurosawa films. I mean, Seven Samurai, I'd heard of, watched, okay. High and Low, okay. I'm not watching them at the right time in my life.
Mhm.
Now, watching them when you're a little older, you've seen a little more, and you're looking at things from a different perspective, hopefully a more mature perspective, they hit you differently at this time in life. If you tried to introduce me to Jean-Luc Godard whenever I was 14, I'd be like, "What the hell is this shit? Like, why are you making me watch this?" I probably wouldn't have even finished some of the things because I'm not smart enough to understand, like, "Oh, this is interesting." You just don't have the life experience, I don't think. I think if any
Mhm.
14-year-old out there is watching Godard and is loving it, good for them. It's
Yeah.
just wasn't what I was enjoying whenever I was growing up.
Yeah, I still have a bit of difficulty enjoying Jean-Luc. I don't hate the films. They're not necessarily for me. I I do enjoy Romer much more than I do, Godard, but I I feel like my relationship with Godard is kinda similar. I wouldn't even say similar. I feel like with Chantal Akerman, which is there's something in her films that I love. It's like watching a car accident. You can't look away, but yet you know it's bad that it happened, if that makes sense. She has these films, the one, with the hotel that she's just recording throughout the hotel, and there's something about that film, like, I sat down and I watched it and nothing really happens. It's just, you see the elevator, you see the room, you see the people outside in the lobby, you see the dirty carpets, but there's something about it that you just can't look away. There's no conversations, by the way. I think you just hear background talk. And then Letters from Home or Letters from My Mother, I might be confusing because I have the book as well, but I believe the movie is called Letters from Home, when her mom is sending her letters and she's just reading them and, like, she's just going through New York and all this kinda stuff, and then it just ends in the ferry leaving Manhattan. There's not much of the film to really say, "Oh my god, like, I love the screenplay," but I do love watching there's a scene in the subway that you have this black people dressed up in, like, that '70s attire, and it's just a moment in history, at least for New York, where I'm in the New York City area, and you kinda, like you seen pictures of the city in that time, you know what 42nd Street was back in the day, but then seeing that in movement, seeing that in a film, and she's not recording actors, she's literally just recording people that are in the subway. A lot of her films, it's just people that are generally just passing by, having real life reactions like, "Why is this bitch up in my face with this camera?" And you can see it when the black people are, like, looking at her, recording them, like, I'm like, "Girl, run." Like, but they're all dressed up in this Sunday clothes and all that kinda stuff, and some people that are just dressed up in that '70s outfit type, I'm like, "This is raw footage of a moment in history," and that's the only thing I liked about some of her films that are not on Jean Doman or Rendezvous Anna. Like, those films have a plot, those films, they have a dialogue between actors, and it's not just raw people, raw reactions, and going through dampy hotels. Because I would say the one from the hotel, and I'm gonna send you the title, I don't know if you have her collection. I could smell that hotel. That's how good the film is capturing the I wish it would've had a little bit more sound. I feel like that's what I wrote as a critique for the film, was that I wish the film had a little bit more sound design. Obviously, this is not something she's probably thinking. It is very atmospheric. I could literally just put that film and just let it play as a background because I don't know, her directing is so weird, and I feel like that is my love-hate relationship with her. because I'm like, "Why are you making this?" But you did it, and I'm watching it, and I hate myself for it, but now I like it.
I'd like to say that a lot of these films, it's like going to a museum. You can appreciate the art, but you don't have to love everything. Like, not everything
Yeah.
has to click with you. Just because a guest was on the show doesn't mean that it's now, these are my top 15 favorite films. No, it's like, I love some, I like some, I don't like some, but I respect all of them. I respect how they were made. Just like if you were going to a museum, I can't do that shit. But I think some of it's ugly. It's
Mhm.
a personal opinion. But I respect the talent that goes into making it. That's kind of
Yeah.
where I've settled on the things that I don't like. Instead of being a dick and going on Letterboxd and being like, half a star, what is this garbage? It's like, that's not an analysis. That's not an appreciation of the art form. That's just you being an asshole. Is really all that is, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
have a real opinion with some analysis behind it.
Yeah.
Like, did I
Like, the
enjoy
people
this? No, I didn't, and here's why. But
yeah.
I get it. It's somebody's baby. You have no idea what goes into making a film, and
Mhm.
there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that had to go right.
Yeah.
It's
It's like the people who
not everything has to
criticize
be for you.
the Mona Lisa, and I'm like, "But can you make it?" Like, I'm not saying it's the best painting out there, but can you make it? But has Criterion also changed the way that you would probably classify a film as a great film?
Yeah. I mean, I used to just look at the box office numbers and assume that the film must be good if people are going to see it. Which, take any superhero film from the last 5 years, maybe, and you can poke holes in that theory. It's helped me to learn to appreciate the art of film and storytelling, as opposed to, well, did anyone go see it? Like, relying on other people's opinions to form my opinion before I go. Similar to what you're saying about Letterboxd. If you go to Letterboxd and you see a rating, oh, this is supposed to be good. Well, just why don't you just watch it without you looking at your phone first, and then form an opinion, and then go see if people agree or disagree with you, and then have arguments with people you don't know online
Yeah.
on Letterboxd
Yeah.
if you so choose to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's made me more patient, not jumping to a conclusion as soon as the film is over, sitting and thinking about something longer and forming an opinion. Sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't.
The good thing about the Criterion Collection is that you might not know why a film was made, but then you go watch the supplementals and interviews, and you're like, "Oh, okay, now I get it. Now I know why it was made. Now I know why maybe when this film was made, this was, I don't know, a political statement. This was a social movement." I feel like you need that in some films, not all films, because some films are just black and white. I know this they did this because they needed to make money for the studio. But some of these films are not. Some of these films we find and we love decades, centuries after, and they were either a flop or just not known. Crash, not the shitty award winner. I'm talking about Crash from Cronenberg. I watched that film and I couldn't look away. And that's literally a car accident that I could not look away. And what do you mean they're fucking cars? When somebody asked me, what is Crash about? I was like, well, they fuck cars. They're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, they get turned on by cars." And they're like, or by accidents and stuff like that. And they're like, "Oh, that's an interesting concept." I'm like, "Well, no, it's just Cronenberg, you know? It's very simple." It's, some people get turned on by violence, other people get turned on by accidents, you know? Shit happens. You don't know people's psychology. But, I that is a movie that is I think it was bombarded with horrible reviews when it came out, and now I wouldn't say it's my favorite Cronenberg, but I would say The Brood is probably my least favorite Cronenberg, but I feel like Crash is one that I see from a different perspective when I watch it because 'cause I'm like, that this doesn't identify me. I'm not turned on by this kinda stuff, but it's the same way when I saw History of Violence the first time, and I mentioned that before. I hated the film when I first watched it. I bought it again, and the first time I watched it, I thought it was like 2 hours long. It's only an hour and 28 minutes. That's how bored I was the first time. And when I watched it this time, I was like, "Oh, man, I hope this film doesn't end," because it's so good. Like, the film is so good, and it's so provocative in awkward ways, And I feel like that's what Cronenberg does. He brings out a sentiment in you that you're like, why am I having these feelings? Why am I turned on by a video?
It's a
So it's just a weird concept.
it's a tale as old as time where a movie doesn't do well in the box office and then it's relitigated much later. I know I've talked about the latest episode that I just recorded, Mate One. It did not make as much money as it took to make the film, and it was a low budget film. And now it's in the Library of Congress, and it's recognized as a great film. So you can't just base it off of what other people are saying about it in the moment.
I
Sometimes things
totally
get better with time.
I totally agree. Like my patience. I have none. Do you think your taste in film has evolved? Because I know you mentioned you watching Ninja Turtles and watching Spawn, and
I just watched TMNT 2 last night. So yeah, that's that part of me, it hasn't died yet. I think so you asked if my taste has evolved. I
Mhm.
think it has. I think age helps. I'll be 40 very soon. And the love for that, or the feeling of holy shit, that was incredible when a movie ends, happens less and less the more you watch, I think. It's there's a formula to some movies where you're like, okay, I know where this is going. Not all the time when you watch Criterion do films follow a similar formula. I wouldn't say my taste is better. I'd say it's expanded. It's allowed me to give lesser known filmmakers and foreign films more of my time instead of always watching the same films over and over again like I did in college. Basically, I had 3 or 4 films that would just be in a rotation.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of my roommate that used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer over and over. Like it would literally end the series, play Angel, and then restart back with Buffy. And I'm like, dude, do you not get tired of that? But then again, I watch Eyes Wide Shut and Sex and the City every Saturday. So, but I'm talking about Sex and the City, the movie. Somebody pointed out, are you posting the same picture every Saturday of the pumpkin pie and Sex and the City, the movie? I was like, no. Why? He's like, because every Saturday you post a picture of Sex and the City, the movie, and a pumpkin pie and I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do on Saturdays. I buy a pumpkin pie, you
Jesus.
know, and I watch Sex and the City, the movie. He's like, every Saturday. I'm like, well, I guess there's 52 Saturdays in a year, so only for 52 days.
Hey, live your
I'm like,
life, man.
I
Live
mean,
your
I
life.
don't have much going for me, and now you're pointing to one thing that makes me happy. Jesus Christ, if he's thinking that, I can only imagine everybody else on Instagram what they're saying. Do you think that every release that Criterion has done, is there a movie in the Criterion Collection that you think doesn't deserve to be there?
According to them, it's deserving, just like any other curation of films. Some you love, some you don't. I think, like I said earlier, when you go to an art museum, do you love every piece of art you see? No, but there's an appreciation for the art form itself. I think you'd have to ask Ashley Clark. Ashley Clark is the curator for the Criterion Collection, who I'd love to have on the show at some point. That would be great. I did reach out to him. He did respond and say he's marketing a book. He can't join now, so I'm gonna bug him again at another time. But I think they're choosing things for a reason, and part of the show, or the basis of the show, is to explore what those reasons might be. So, who are we to say whether something is deserving or not? And that's kind of another part of it too. It's kind of a positive show, I think. Not one of us are sitting there saying, "Well, I disagree. I think this movie is shit and it shouldn't be in." It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm just a random dude, so who cares what I have to say? It's more of an exploration of why it is, not litigating whether it should be or not.
And again, take this as a compliment. You have the child curiosity of why, and you keep asking the why, and not necessarily like literally asking the why. You phrase the questions and stuff like that until you get down to the bottom of why this film deserves to be there. But you do have the childlike curiosity when you go into the movie, when you have your guests, you're not there putting or submitting them to your point of view, which is something a lot of people do. And you're there to get to know why this film means so much to them, why they think this film should be there. And I don't even think it's them defending why this film should be in the Criterion Collection. I think it's just more of an explanation why it's in the Criterion Collection and it deserves to be there, which again, it could be a very thin line
It is.
of you submitting them to your thought. You're in my podcast. You're going to tell me I'm right, you're wrong. No, that is not the fact. You don't try to derail the conversation that way. As a matter of fact, it does have an easy flow. I think the 49 step one, the 49 step, the 39 steps, I just added 10 more. Poor guy's gonna keep walking. Um, by the way, the film is not about him walking.
It's
so,
not about steps.
so it's not about steps. But the thing is that you adapt yourself into what the person is saying, and some of the questions, and in the 39 steps was one of the examples where you said you had written down some stuff and he answered that before you even got to that point. And that is a good way that the conversation kind of already goes into something that you yourself did research on, because you might go in without not knowing much of this film. And then you kind of get that, oh, okay, so what I researched, what I thought of the film, this person is kind of confirming the, say, quote unquote knowledge of the film. Because again, you say you're the dumb one, you say you're the dumb one. You go in with the curiosity, and they explain to you why this film deserves to be there. So I got to give you again kudos and praise on that, because it is a very easy flowing conversation.
Yeah, it's not an interrogation. It's
Why?
not show up and defend. I don't necessarily know what to post as short form content, because it's hard to be mid conversation in the middle of a film and then you pull out a 30 to 40-second clip out of context on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. People don't know what the hell you're talking about. So what I've done is I've clipped the last question. Why this film? Why does it deserve a place in
Yeah.
the Criterion Collection? And then they answer. And because it's short form and you didn't just hear the previous hour-long conversation, the comments I've received were, how is this even a question? Offended that I'm even questioning it. But in reality, what I'm really doing is I'm shining a light on a film that has very little light shown onto it in a lot of respects. So people come after me sometimes of like, I can't believe you're even asking this. The idea of the podcast is to explore the positive parts of this and talk to somebody that has a passion about it. I'm not questioning it, even though it is a question at the end. I'm not questioning its place, is a better way to put it, maybe.
You really can't question much for the hardcore, like what I always say, Criterion bros. You can't really question anything when it comes to Criterion. I'm like, no, I do. And I will keep saying they do work a lot with other companies. And if I see it on Criterion coming out, I'm like, I'll wait for the course on. So you can have your criticism on Criterion, you can have your criticisms on a Criterion film, and you don't do it in a disrespectful way either, like, "Gotcha," like, "This shouldn't be here," like, "This film
Right.
sucks," and,
Yeah.
you're very respectful and you're feeding that curiosity you have, and some people cannot respect that.
There's enough negativity out there about, I mean, look at the Odyssey right now. There people are just like, it's almost like a contrarian opinion just to have a contrarian opinion. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not trying to necessarily get, I know it's a podcast and I would like people to listen to it, but I'm not going to have provocative opinions just so people click on my profile. That's not the way I'm going to do things. So I'm just going to be curious and just keep asking questions and talk to people about what they're passionate about.
Yeah, I tell people if you wanna, I mean, not necessarily that way, but I'm like, "If you wanna talk shit, come over here." I'm not sponsored by anybody, but but I would say Criterion would at least be one that it can really push in the sense of it's educational. It does have great supplementals, and they really care whether they're collabing with any other company to bring this out, because they're basically the distributors here in the US. Coruscant is not. But I have one more question, which is what film would you love to see join the Criterion Collection?
This is a basic answer, but you know what? I don't
Spawn.
care. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, Spawn is terrible, and I love it so much. The basic answer is The Big Lebowski. Like that shit would sell out so quickly for them. They already have a bunch of Coen Brothers films in there. Just throw that one in there too, or Fargo. Just give me the Coen
Yeah.
Brothers everything. Give me the box set. Give me all the singular releases. Just give me any Coen Brothers I can get my hands on. They're so popular, and they're films that are accessible for people that maybe don't want to watch French New Wave.
Yeah.
Maybe people that are just getting into it are not going to show up to a sale or have a flash sale on their website and pick up all the French New Wave if they've never seen anything like that before. So it's like if you want a gateway for people to get into some things, something mainstream like that.
I mean, that would be a great box set. I hate the Anderson box set, it's stupid, but I feel like with the Coen brothers, they could do an amazing box set. That's why I was
Mhm.
trembling when I saw the Kubrick one, because I was like, "Oh, they would have fucked up this so easily," but they did a great job, and I
It
saw
looks
the,
great.
yeah, there's a video on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it, where the creator for the box set is talking about it.
I just saw it
Uh,
today. Yeah,
oh my god, that is such a like, and then again, that is the good thing about Criterion. It's like, oh, we went through his files and stuff and all this, and this is how we came up with this box. You're getting that more and more now from other boutiques that are popping out. I'm gonna ask you some quick round fire shots over here.
I'm ready.
This is gonna be the Criterion test for you. Let's see how much you've learned from your guest. Actually, no, this has nothing to do with the podcast. It's just more about you and your Criterion passion. What has been your biggest blind buy success?
I'm gonna cheat. I have two. Tampopo. Tampopo kicks ass. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies right now. And Sorcerer. I had never seen
Mm.
Sorcerer. I had not seen Wages of Fear either, so don't at me. I haven't seen Wages of Fear, but I did buy Sorcerer, and I was just like jaw on the floor. That movie is awesome. And it looks beautiful too. It's
It
4K
does look
release.
beautiful. Yeah, it does look beautiful. Tampopo, my partner loves ramen. So
Oh, dude, I love
I
Tampopo.
I have to buy that damn film now.
I love it. Have you seen it?
No, but I keep
Oh,
hearing about it,
it's
and
awesome.
yeah, a lot of people recommend Tampopo.
I love it. It's so strange and awesome. Bo,
Biggest Criterion regret.
oh boy, the Beastie Boys video anthology.
I thought it was a movie. I know I don't wanna buy it because I don't like the Beastie Boys too
I
much.
love. Well, okay, I should qualify this by saying I do love. I actually love the Beastie Boys. I think they're great. But do I need a Criterion release of all their music videos? No, not. I don't. But I have it. You know, whatever.
And what's the most underrated Criterion in your opinion?
No one seems to talk about. I mentioned John Sayles a few times. No one seems to talk about Sayles. I highly recommend Lone Star. If you've not seen Lone Star, no one talks about it. It's like, oh, the cover's cool, so people pick it up. I mostly see the big names from Criterion, and his name, Sayles' name, is sometimes left out of great directors for some reason. And he could have only made Lone Star and Matewan, and he would be a legend in my mind. So I highly recommend, if you haven't seen Lone Star, to check out Lone Star.
And which one do you think is the most overrated, and why is it Barry Lyndon?
Oh, see, I've heard you talk about this before. This is tough for me because, like, we've established that every film has its own merit. And when you have a divisive opinion, it pisses people off. So I'm going to say something that people might not be happy about.
It's fine, it's my podcast, they're never happy.
But that's okay. There are some films, like, does every single Cronenberg need to be in the Criterion
I
Collection?
agree. I
Could
totally
we
I love the
could we
guy.
pick and choose? I did just make the case for all the Coen brothers. But, like, maybe does The Brood need its own release? It's cool. I liked it. But, like, Cronenberg box set would be actually pretty neat. But every individual release, maybe it's just not for me, I would say. So when people talk about how much they love certain Cronenberg, I'm like, okay, when you say overrated, I think I hear a lot about it and I'm not buying into it as much as
Mhm.
maybe everybody else. It's the right thing for me to say that I love every Cronenberg, but I would be telling little white lies. I like them all. I do like all the Cronenberg films. I don't love them all to the point where I'm like, the next sale, I'm getting the other 3 Cronenbergs I'm missing from my collection. I'm not that hardcore about it.
No, I totally agree. I feel like the Brood could have easily been a movie within a disc, another like an additional film, like they do with some French films. I feel like that could have been The Brood. It does
I
it
laughed. I thought it was a comedy in the opening scene of The Brood. I was like, "Oh, this is
I
gonna be
thought it
funny."
was. I thought it was. I mean, it technically for me it is because those little creeps, they're just
Uh,
funny. It's a stupid ass movie.
but I didn't not en I enjoyed it for what it is. To talk about it as, like, every film is a masterpiece, I'm not. Although I love Videodrome. Like, I have Videodrome here. I forget that movie's awesome. I
And yeah,
love that movie.
they have a beautiful release for that one too.
Yeah, yeah. I actually did a little reel of my 5 favorite covers or packages that I own, and that was in my
Mm,
top 5 that I own.
nice. If you were on a desert island, I was gonna give you 2 options, but you know what? Just to torture you, what's the one film you'll probably take with you from the
Um,
Criterion Collection? No, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles not allowed.
Man, I think can I take the whole Kubrick box set with me? Does that
Oh,
is that is that cheating? If I
well,
take
no,
the whole
technically
box
not.
set? It's not
Well, I
one movie.
yeah.
You know what? I'm taking No Country. I think it's one of the best movies of all time.
Well,
I'm
you always
taking No
remember your
Country for Old Men.
first.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. But it's so good. I mean, if or you could take like Mulholland Drive and just spend your whole time on that deserted island trying
Trying
to
to figure
figure
it
out what the
out.
hell that movie's about. That might be fun. It might make you go nuts, but No Country is I think is one of the best movies ever. So
I would drown myself or sleep under a coconut tree.
okay, so maybe you won't be bringing any type
No, I
of
mean, I do
Lynch.
love Mulholland Drive. It's my only good, David Lynch movie. I'm not a big
Uh
fan of David,
Listen, watch Straight Story.
which is not that straight. No, actually, no, that is the only straight movie that he has.
Have you seen that one?
No, I just found out it was about a guy named Straight. I thought it was just a straight story because it was just like one single storyline, not that multiple shit that
Well,
he
I
does.
think it's a double meaning.
Mhm. Yeah.
I highly recommend that. But I think that's an accessible Lynch film. Anyone can watch that. It is a straight story,
Yeah.
literally. So yeah,
Yeah.
I recommend that one. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
I've heard good things about that film, but again, I'm not a big fan of his. I just bought The Elephant Man because why not? It was
Mhm.
there, I was there, it was meant to be. But actually, no, I ordered it online, so I'm kinda lying about that. I gave last time a few that were, I would say, less talked about films that everyone, or at least people who are starting to get into Criterion collecting, should own or at least take a second look at. What are some of the titles, or 1 or 10, whatever you think that people should own and why?
I think I think when you talk about a question like this or an answer to a question like this, you get cliched answers, and they're
Mhm.
cliche for a reason. Seven Samurai as an answer to this question is cliche for a reason. It's because it's fucking awesome,
Yeah.
and you should have that movie.
And Jojimbo, by the way,
You
Jojimbo.
should have the Yojimbo and Sandro box set. You should have
Yeah,
Ikiru. Like you should have all these Kurosawa films because they're awesome.
yeah.
I think things that make you think, like a David Lynch film, perhaps, like a Blue
Mulholland Drive.
Velvet, things that like when you that don't always give you clear cut answers and make you think. I think you should have something like we talked about After Hours by Scorsese, which is uh, a lesser talked about film by Scorsese, but one that is like him at I think his best in
Yes.
some ways.
That film is perfect.
They
That
make
film
the
is
film. They
perfect
made
from
it
beginning to end.
quickly. He just lost The Last Temptation of Christ. He lost the funding for it. He was trying to work on a budget. He was trying to come in under budget. He was trying to come in quicker than the original schedule, and it's great when you have all the background knowledge like that. I think if people are looking to actually buy something, say like an entry point to Criterion, my recommendation would be to pick a director you've heard of and then grab a movie that you've never seen. Or pick a genre that you really, really love and then just pick something that you haven't seen. And don't
Yeah,
watch any movie and don't watch any movie trailers.
that
Don't
is a
read any
good way.
Letterboxd. Sometimes I don't even read the back of the damn box. I'm just like, "Oh, I've heard people talk about this movie. I'm going to watch it." Then it makes for a better experience because you're taking it in as if you went to a film festival and you're watching films that don't have movie trailers and you're not reading the synopsis and the reviews aren't out, and it makes for a better experience.
Yeah, don't start with a Bergman box set.
Don't start
Don't
with that.
don't start with
Don't start
that.
with that.
It's a great box set to have. Like, that is, I feel like we talked about feeling like you were in film school. That is film school 101. Like, that introduction to Bergman is film school 101. One of my favorite musicals, A Little Night Music, is based on one of his films that's based on a novel, which is Smiles of a Summer Night. I just love that film. It's probably one of my favorite from his, but that's because the one of my favorite musicals is adapted from that.
Well, there's others that make you think into the next day. So like there's a reason why Harakiri is, on Letterboxd number 1 of their list of top 500 films or whatever it is. I think it's 500 narrative features or something.
Mm.
And you watch that and you're like, "Oh my god, like, what did I just see? Why did it invoke these types of feelings that I'm having?" And then the next morning you wake up and the first thing you think of is that damn movie. You want things like that. That make you think, that make you feel something, because that's the point.
No, I felt like that was solid, but you said you didn't wanna cover that one. I felt like that for a week after. I'm like, "Why did I watch that film?" I was shaking.
Wait, which one?
Solo.
Oh, no, thank you. I said make you think and not make you feel like a piece of shit for watching what you just watched. To make you feel something, I should specify.
I thought the
Invoke a
FBI was
feeling that doesn't make you feel bad about yourself.
yeah, I thought the FBI was gonna knock my door down for watching Solo, and I was like, "I owe you taxes, and this is why you're trying to arrest me?" Like, it doesn't make sense. But thank you so much, Ron, for being here with me today. Before we go, I want you to let my listeners know where they can find you. I'm gonna be tagging all your information here below, your podcast, your Instagram, all the ways that people can find you and listen to you, but please let them know where can they find you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Anytime I get an opportunity to talk a little Criterion or films, I'm happy to take up the offer. You can find Why This Film on anywhere pretty much you get your podcasts. Instagram, I'm at Why This Film Pod. And also check out whythisfilm.com. Little website that we put together that has all kind of different resources that you can read before you watch a film, you can read after you watch a film. I have links to all the things, like all my guests' work as well, all the information about all the films that we're covering that I wouldn't put in an episode description that nobody really reads a lot of anyway. So have a little website, whythisfilm.com. I highly recommend you check it out.
Yeah, so you just blew up my mind. So I just spend so much time on my show notes and nobody reads them. Damn, I bet that has to be something to do with
I'm assuming nobody,
SEO.
I'm assuming, yeah, I think that helps, but I don't know.
But thank you so much, Ron. I hope you join me here again. If not, I am going to be your number one guest once The Pest comes out on Criterion. If not, To Wan Fu. To Wan Fu. That's my second option. It's either The Pest or To Wan Fu in that order.
All right,
No,
I'll put
but
you on the list.
but I think I really appreciate you being here with me today. And again, if you have not listened to his podcast and you love the Criterion Collection, I highly suggest you go and you give it a listen. Even if you want to listen to it before you buy the film, you will learn something. Like I said, I just learned that Matcha One was in Virginia and not in Japan. So thank you so much for being with me here today. And don't forget, you can follow The Physical Cut on Instagram at The Physical Cut Pod. Also, you can find us at krpodlab.com. That's krpotlab.com. This has been The Physical Cut, where films live beyond the stream. I will see you guys next time.